The president took off his mask, as I said he would, to deliver incredibly powerful remarks about this captain, Captain Taylor, and what he did in service to our nation. And he wanted to honor the captain. And for a brief time afterwards, he also didn't have his mask on, as you just laid out. And he left as planned, as it was planned. He left when there was a pause in the program in order to minimize his close contact with attendees who are about to participate in a reception.
So that was White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday deflecting questions about President Biden violating COVID protocols at a Medal of Honor ceremony Tuesday. So the White House said that Biden would be wearing a mask indoors and around other people after First Lady Jill Biden tested positive for COVID. So the president removing his mask to deliver the remarks, and then he never put it back on before he walked out of the ceremony, before it was even over. Joining me now is Georgia Congressman Richard McCormick. He's also a member of the Foreign Affairs and Armed Services Committees. He's also a member of the GOP Doctors Caucus. Congressman, good morning. So you just met with the new CDC director. I'm assuming that masking, mandates, and suggestions from the CDC all came up in that discussion.
It sure did. I was very concerned that they were going to overstep, over control, make recommendations that were absurd. They got way too political last time. I was making sure that their only intent was to inform people, possibly make recommendations, but let us make our own choices.
So what do you think? I mean, obviously, it doesn't look like mandates are coming back, but what do you make of the president's decision to? I mean, he flouted the guidance. I don't want to say rule, but he flouted the guidance that was given to him because he's around multiple people. We do know that there is a COVID spike happening in the Northeast right now. Fair enough, but what do you think that it was appropriate for him, especially in front of obviously an elderly man, to be taking off the mask and then walking out of the room without the mask? I mean, he's making jokes about it when the CDC is telling us that we should probably mask up. And by the way, there's a school in Washington, D.C. They're masking up their third graders. University of Michigan, they're telling kids to mask up again. So where's the truth here?
Well, the truth is masks really aren't necessary unless we're going to wear a mask for the rest of our lives, because this is going to be around forever. We have a small bump in a new variant. That's it. Flu has a new variant every year also. We get vaccinations for the flu every year for new variants or for the most prevalent virulence. They're going to be probably doing exactly the same thing for COVID. The new Moderna COVID variant vaccination is going to probably come out in mid-September. If you're high risk, of course, you can get it if you want to, but that's your choice. The question is, are we going to be recommended or forced to wear a mask or get a vaccination every time a new variant comes out? I sure hope not. I'm an ER doctor. I went through the entire pandemic. I don't want to wear a mask if I don't want to. If you're safe from your vaccination, from your mask, don't make me do it. I think that's what most Americans want right now, is self-determination. This is always going to be around from us for the rest of our lives. It's not going away. Flu has been around for 100 years. There's new variants every year, the same way with COVID, and it has similar mortality and morbidity. Let's move on. Whether the president wants to wear a mask or not, he is probably more high risk. He's 80 years old. He's in pretty good health otherwise, other than maybe his mind. But I'm not too worried about what the president does. Just don't make me do what the government wants to do. They use all these fear tactics to control and tax us to death. They use the environment. They use diseases. This is the way they grab control. That's what the liberals love to do.
Okay. Well, let me ask you another health question here. And this is about Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. He's had several health episodes. He had that fall earlier. He says he intends to finish his time as leader and finish his Senate term. That term sunsets at the end of 2026. He was pressed about his health by Fox News' Chad Pergram yesterday. Listen to what the response was.
I think Dr. Monahan covered.
We'd like to hear from you.
I know you are hearing from me. I think Dr. Monahan covered the subject fully.
He didn't rule things. He ruled things out. He didn't tell us what it might have been. Do you know what it is?
Well, that was our own Chad Pergram asking him. And look, this isn't to give him a hard time, but there's a lot of concern in this country about the health of Mitch McConnell. He's had 2 freezes. He seems unsteady on his feet. And the doctor did come out, the House doctor did come out and say that he'd had brain imaging and, they tested him for TIA, stroke. But people are seeing this with their own eyes, Congressman, and they still have questions.
Sure. And realize that TIA, and you're going to have different doctors with different opinions. That's what medicine is like. It's an art as much as it is a science. But TIAs don't always leave any residual effect. You can't see it on an MRI or see it on a CT. It is more of, you see a symptom, something that fits that. He doesn't have another explanation. To me, I think it's a TIA. We see them all the time in ER where people have strange neurological symptoms that resolve after a few minutes or a few hours. It's temporary. That's what the T stands for, TI. It's something that I'm suspicious of, regardless if it's a TIA or something else. Lots of people have that. It doesn't disqualify him from serving. I am concerned with his overall health as a man who is getting up there in years also, and who is frozen up a couple times in a short period. That does increase your chances of stroke.
Do you think this has anything to do with the fall? I realize you're not treating Mitch McConnell, but do you think this is because of the fall he took earlier this year and the concussion? Does the brain take longer to recover from a fall as you advance in age?
Well, certainly everything takes, as a rugby guy who plays in his 50s, everything takes longer to heal when you get injured as you get older. Your brain is just another organ. And of course, when you get a concussion, there's a reason that we rest your brain after a concussion, because you are literally damaging your brain. Your brain needs to rebuild. It needs to rest. The question is, what causes fall? Was he having a problem that causes fall? As most people get past the age of 80, their cerebellar abilities, which is the back portion of your brain, decrease. And that's why our balance gets off. That's why our ability to do coordinated movements gets worse. So that was part of you already getting worse to begin with. When you hit your head, that accelerates the process.
Interesting. Well, who else is 80 is President Biden. Anyway, Congressman Richard McCormick, it's good to have you here. Thank you for joining us this morning.